In this video, I will show you how to use Java interfaces, and the Java interface is another type of data like classes and abstract classes. So a Java interface contains abstract methods which are declared but not defined, and they are very useful to allow communication between classes in Java. So in this example, we have two frames, the main frame and the user input frame. And when we click on the set title, we have to display the user input frame. But when we click on OK and cancel, we have to notify the main frame about the event generated by the user. For this reason, the main frame has to know which frame to import, but the user input frame does not need to know the main frame because the user input frame can be used by any frame. So let's start by creating these two frames and then let's use the interfaces. So here I have already created a new Java project using NetBeans. So let's create the main frame. So I will just add a new Java class and I will call it Mainframe. So I will create it on the default package, so I will not provide any value for this package. Then let's click on finish. And in this class, as I said, it is a frame, so I have to add extends GFrame. And I need also to import the GFrame class. Now I will just make a copy of a source code that I have already prepared. So in this source code, I will create this constructor and I will set the title, the size, and I will remove the layout manager. So I can put the different components as I like. Also, I need to import the GButton class. So I will just replace the GFrame by start, which means that we will import all the classes. Also, I need to import this class, so I have to click on this and to add the import. The same thing with the action event. So now I fixed all the errors, and for the moment what occurs is that I create this button and I put it in the frame. Also, when I click on this button, I will just call this method, which is this one, and which does not do anything for the moment. And here in the main method, I will just create an object called app of type mainframe. So for the moment, when I run this class, I obtain this window. But for the moment, this button does not do anything. Also, if I close this frame, the application will be stopped because I added this instruction. So this instruction allows the application to be stopped when I click on the close button of the frame. Now I have to create the user input frame. So let's create a new class and it will be a Java class. So next. And this class, I will call it UserInputFrame. So I will create this class into this package, and now let's click on finish. Now I will also remove these comments which are useless, and also I will just paste a source code that I prepared which allows me to create this frame. And also I need to import the GFrame class. I will replace GFrame by star so I can use all the classes of this package. So in this source code that I created, I have already created this constructor. I set the title, the size, I removed the layout manager. I added the first label and I put it in the frame. I added this text field, this button, and this second button. Also, when I click on the OK button, I will just close the user input frame without killing the application. So I use dispose to kill just the user input frame. Also, I do the same thing when I click on the cancel button. But of course, I have some errors because I need to add some imports. Now the error disappeared, so I have to save this class. And here, as you can see, when I click on the close button of this frame, I will not terminate, I will not finish the application, I will just kill the frame. So the application will not be stopped because I still have the main frame that is running. So for this reason, I provide here as a parameter dispose on close. Now let's go back to mainframe and let's show this user input frame when we click on set title button. So when we click on set title button, we call start user input frame. So this is start user input frame that I have to complete by creating an object of type user input frame. So let's do this. But for the moment I have an error because the user input frame belongs to a different package. For this reason I have to import the class. So as you can see now the error disappeared because this line, this import has been added. Now let's save this file and let's run it. So here I have this main frame. When I click on set title, I obtain this user input frame. But if I provide any value here and I click on OK, just the user input frame will be closed, but there is nothing that happens in mainframe because the user input frame did not notify the mainframe. So to notify the mainframe about the event, we have to implement an interface. So let's create this interface into the user input frame. So I will just create it as part of this user input frame. So let's create an interface that I will call UserInputEvent. So inside this interface, I will add two methods because I have two events that may occur with the user input frame. Either I click on OK or I click on cancel. So the two methods, I will call them new value added and operation cancelled. As you can see, the new value event receives a string because when the user clicks on the OK button, we have to read the value from the text field and we have to provide it to the main frame. But when the user clicks on the cancel button, we have just to notify the main frame that the operation has been cancelled. For this reason, operation cancel does not receive any parameter. Now we need to use this user input event. So we have just to add it to the constructor because when we create this user input frame, we have to provide it with an object of type user input event. So let's do this. Now I have just to use the methods of this object when the buttons are clicked. So when we click on the OK button, we have just to call the first method of this object, which is new value event, and the value will be the text of the text field. So the text field is called text field. Then when we click on the cancel button, we have just to do the same thing. We have to call the second method of user input event, which is operation cancelled. Of course, this method does not require any parameters. So this is all what we have to do. So let's save this class. And let's do the required modifications into Mainframe. So here, as you can see, we have this error because now the constructor requires an object of type user input event, which is the interface that we have created. So we have two options. We have two solutions. Either we implement the interface into this mainframe, or we create an object of type user input event. So these are two options that we will see together. So let's start with the first option. So here I will add implements, and I have to provide the interface name. So the interface name is UserInputEvent. So I have to copy this and to paste it here. But I have this error because this interface is part of this class. So I have also to provide the name of the class before the name of the interface. Now, as you can see, the error disappeared from this value, but I have an error here because I have to implement the methods of the interface. To fix this, I can use the help of NetBeans, and I can click on implement all abstract methods. So the abstract methods will be implemented here and here. So I have just to modify these methods. So, and here of course I have to correct this because I said I have to provide an object of type user input event to this constructor. To do this, I have just to say this, which is the current class, which is already implementing this interface. So now the error disappeared from this line. So let's save this to remove this error from this class. And as you can see, for the moment I don't have any error at all. But this code does not do anything for the moment. So to add some statements, I have to modify this method, and when the user clicks on the OK button of the user input frame, I have to set the title. So I will call set title, and I will provide the value that has been provided by the user. And when the user clicks on the cancel button, I will just print some text on the console. Let's save this and let's run this class. Now in this main frame, if I click on set title, I will obtain this user input frame. So if I provide some value here, for example, welcome, and when I click on OK, the welcome text will appear here. If I do the same thing and I click on cancel instead of OK, we will see on NetBeans the text operation cancelled by the user. So the first method, so let's close this frame. So as I said, the first method to use the interface, to implement the interface, is by implementing the interface into this class. The other method is just to create an object of type user input event interface and to pass this object to the constructor of the user input frame. So let's do this. So this is the user input frame. It requires an object of type user input event interface. So let's create it here. So as I said, it is an interface that belongs to this class. Event. And of course, I have to implement all the methods of this interface. So I will implement all the methods of the interface, which are new value event and operation cancelled. And here, of course, I have to pass this object to this constructor. Now the error disappeared from here, and here I have to modify the two methods. Now let's save this and let's run this class. So when I click on set title, I will obtain this user input frame. If I provide this text, and if I click on OK, the text will be set in the title of this main frame. And if I do the same thing, I click on cancel, and if I check NetBeans, I will see this text displayed just here. So let's close this mainframe. So the application has been stopped, and as I said, this is how we can use the Java interfaces. At the end, thank you very much for watching, and please subscribe to the channel.